Michigan State fans are excited about Nick Sheridan coming to East Lansing, and I think they've got a good reason to be because that passing game is going to rock.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Locked On Spartans with Matt Sheridan and Locked On the Portal with Brian Smith. Thank you for making this your first listen each and every day on both of our podcasts. We truly appreciate you stopping in and learning all about what's going on with Michigan State today. The transfer portal, new coaching hires, and at the end, we're actually going to make fun of a school that Matt doesn't even like to say that school.
That's right. A little awkward when the shoe's on the other foot, isn't it, Michigan?
So we'll talk about that at the end of the show. A big feature right before that, how much will Michigan State throw down on the NIL trail? First year, that is a major topic that we have to get to. Pat Fitzgerald, what do Michigan State fans really think short-term and long-term? But we're going to start off with Michigan State hiring Nick Sheridan. I'm a fan of it.
Okay.
I have questions.
Okay.
But here's my initial take. For the love of God, it can't be worse than what it was. That's the first thing.
Kind of what I started my show with, because I was also I came into it more conflicted. You know, I called it would have been a Matt hire, is what I said a few weeks ago when Sheridan's name first started popping up. And I'm still in that. I think it's a 5 out of 10. But we said, okay, if your glass is half full, here's what you could look at. And that's what we started with. It can't get worse. Like, we got to only move up here. So if not for nothing else, we got that going for us. He put up some good stats at Alabama, not this season, but the previous one. Michael Penix is in his portfolio. So there's reason to be happy. But I'm excited for this conversation with you, Brian, because I want an outsider's perspective as well.
I watch a lot of Bama games because they're playing in the top 20.
Yeah, right.
Pretty much their schedule was pretty hard this year. And they were one of the most difficult teams to understand.
Yes, I hard agree. They're not just like bad at running the ball. They were horrible at running the ball this year. They were second worst in the SEC at average yards per carry. And it's not like they don't have a great offensive line. Caden Proctor anchors one side. Their center, I believe, is a third-team All-SEC player. You think that Alabama doesn't have a talent issue, but why did the run game stall out this year? But also, Brian, one of my knocks against Sheridan is, well, he lost play calling duties when Ryan Grubb came in. That's Kalen DeBoer's guy. But also, well, hold on. If the run game sucks, can we just blame DeBoer, or does this fall on Sheridan too? I'm so conflicted here, man. I want to like it. I want to like all these hires, but I'm just a little reluctant to just dive in and say, yes, this is the guy. He's going to save us and bring us to the 40-point per game promised land. I just don't know. I don't know. And that bothers me, Brian. That bothers me.
A lot of things are probably going to bother you during this podcast, Matt.
They always do, but that's okay. That's where I find comfort in being bothered. So that's good. We're okay.
Aidan Chiles is gone. They're going to have to get a quarterback. We'll get into the NIL and all that. Who is on the roster that would be excited about this hire from a quarterback, receiver?
Yeah.
Is there anybody? Because everybody seems to be leaving.
Obviously. Yeah, I was talking with a few people on the Alabama side, and they were, kind of fascinated with, well, a redshirt sophomore backup. If Ty Simpson doesn't go to the NFL, he might be following Sheridan to East Lansing. I'm thinking, well, hold on. We got our own incoming redshirt sophomore here, Alessio Milivojevic. He started the last 4 games of the season for Michigan State, and I thought he played quite well, to be honest, especially – it was all the things that you have to overcome being the quarterback at Michigan State last year. Line item number 1, getting your face mauled off every single play because no one's blocking for you. So even with all that going on, I thought he still had poise. I thought he made quick reads. His accuracy, I thought, was fine. So I think the quarterback situation is A-okay here. I am interested, though, because I know Sheridan, big bubble screen guy. I remember a lot of those at Indiana. Do we have the bubble screen, I guess, archetypes at wide receiver? I suppose he got some speed with Christian McCray coming back, but the wide receiver room as a whole is a question mark. We're losing Nick Marsh to the transfer portal. Omari Kelly's gone. I know we're going to talk about NIL here, but the wide receiver room needs a little bit more help. I feel confident in the quarterback room, but before everything else, I don't care how great Nick Sheridan can be in a perfect situation or how bad he is despite, all the wrongdoings that anyone has ever done, but get an offensive line for this guy. I just want to see how good he is without 2 hands tied behind his back. That's where all the money on the offensive side of the ball is going to have to go, just the O-line, Brian.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what they've done in the past. Like he was part of that 2023 Washington team that
Yeah,
between the quarterback and running back had 6,000 yards.
right.
Literally, that's incredible.
Hmm.
But they've also like just had moments. You're like, this Alabama team again. Caden Proctor, Brailsford's the guy up front at center.
Yeah.
I think they mismanaged how the SEC works. I doubt that Grubb and him will do that next year. You got to plan to run the ball differently in the SEC because they got tons of running backs too. So I think I'm going to go out on a limb and guess Sheridan knows that,
Hmm.
especially with the weather you see in November
Sure.
in the state of Michigan. You've got to be able to run the football because when it gets windy and stuff, look at the Miami Texas A&M game. It was sunny and fairly nice, but if it's super windy, it just doesn't matter. You can't throw the football. You've got to be able to run it. Miami won because they could run the ball at the end.
Yeah, I mean, able to just kill the clock. I mean, yeah, just run that ball until the clock hits zero. I mean, it's not like he's taken over something great up here, though. Like, our run game was even worse than Alabama's last year. I mean, and we're also losing a running back, Mekhi Frazier. Our offensive line, it doesn't even matter who you lose on that line. You need a total repair job there. We do know that we're missing our best offensive lineman, Matt Goldman, probably going to go to the NFL draft. But if he doesn't get drafted, he's not eligibility, Brian. Like, it's all over. So he's gone from one rough running situation to inheriting another one. And I just hate to do this because I'm supposed to be strong-willed in my takes and just be defiant and tell you for sure how everything's going to be. But it's kind of like when Pat Fitzgerald gets hired, I say, well, okay, that's fine. I want to see who he hires. Kind of like Nick Sheridan. Yeah, this is great. I've seen some good things he's done. I've seen some not so good things he's done. Unfortunately, we are going to have to wait and see and do something called be patient to see like what kind of roster he has to work with. Can he have horses in a stable that can run a ball? And that's why the transfer portal coming up has to be big for Michigan State. I know we're not special. I know it's got to be big for every program, but for offensive linemen, maybe get another running back. Yeah, that's going to be paramount here for Nick Sheridan to at least be somewhat successful in year one.
To that end, Pat Fitzgerald, I want to touch on this to start. We'll get into it a little bit after the break too. Your initial thoughts, Pat Fitzgerald, lukewarm, happy, cold. What do MSU fans think?
Lukewarm's a good one. I think more people are happy about it than not happy, and especially after his press conference, because this is one of the knocks against Jonathan Smith is that it's kind of a stale guy, not really a personality, and that's in front of a microphone or behind closed doors with the donors. He wasn't really salesy. He wasn't this big guy with bravado around him. Whereas Pat Fitzgerald, he takes that, podium. I got people that, are in my life, big Michigan State fans. They hated the hire. And then right after the press conference, they're like, yeah, forget I said anything. I'm all in. So I think largely people are happy with this hire. But I also think that, who are we kidding? The resources he has to play with are going to be a big portion of how this all works. Who he keeps from the staff, who else he hires on like Sheridan. I think largely it is a thumbs up. I do like the way things are going right now. This is before we even get into the $400 million donation. I like retaining Joe Rossi. I love bringing in Max Bola. Taking LeVar Woods, the special teams coordinator from Iowa, I think was a seismic hire. Like I know special teams, not sexy to talk about, but if you've seen how good Iowa has been last few years and how horrible Michigan State has been, there's no understating how important of a hire that is. So I after a few weeks, I like the Pat Fitzgerald hire so far. So far, so good for me, Brian.
Well, I think there's a reason to be excited about that. Special teams do matter, especially, again, bad weather games, etc.
We've seen it. Yeah.
It can go sideways really quick.
Yeah.
Your point about $400 million donation or whatever, we need to talk about that.
We do.
A little more about how Pat uses that. That is next to this crossover Locked On Spartans and the Portal. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Gametime. Gametime is the opportunity for you to get in and all the great things with college football, with the playoffs, or whether it's regular season, or whether it's anything else. But getting into the stadium, all that energy and all the fun with the bands and everything, getting tickets to it, it's not always easy. It used to be really frustrating with a lot of the apps that I tried, and some of you probably too. Logins, the long queues, and of course, the prices aren't always the same at checkout as they are at the beginning. That's why Gametime gives you the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few clicks. And you can do a couple of different things that I just did as I bought tickets off Gametime, not once, but twice in the last month. You can go in the last 5 minutes, be in and out, find your tickets, see your seat view, and then put in your information and be done right there with Gametime. So whether it's a game for Michigan State, whether it's NBA with Pistons or anything else, Gametime has you covered. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. All right. We are appreciative of you stopping in. My guy, Matt Sheehan, and I, we're talking all things Spartans today. And to take your game to the next level, check out the Everydayer Club description down below with a link. It's pretty simple. You can get ad-free to listen to Matt rant and rave about everything going on with Michigan State when you're on the go, grocery store, gym, traveling. Same thing with the Portal podcast. Just check out the link down below. And we also have a Discord you can check out too, $5 a month. Let's talk about the money. That's something I was going to ask you about. Let's just mix that with the Pat Fitzgerald stuff. No offense, but Northwestern's a different deal. They're not trying to go after the same kids Michigan State is. It's not
ideally not. Right. Yeah, exactly. Especially, with the news that dropped. I think that's going to change some things here for what this roster looks like, Brian. I enjoyed the $401 million donation that we just saw. Not bad. Not bad.
I don't know who made that, but whoever did, good for them. And I'm sure they're going to have their name on a lot of different things, I'm guessing.
You would think, surprisingly not a lot so far, but again, hey, we've got a lot of life left. For one, Greg Williams, so I'm sure he'll have his name slapped on a bunch of buildings, towers, blimps. Whatever you need, Greg, we got you up here. Thanks again for the $400 million. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, is that starting like right now, or is that when does that hit? Any info on that?
Good question. I'll try to make this into a 45 second rundown here. So there's this big initiative. It's called For Sparta. They're trying to raise $1 billion by 2032. This is for massive stadium renovations to Spartan Stadium, but it's not just all buildings, right? We've seen the renderings of Breslin Center, Genesis. This is also for like staffing, for example. Like I'm sure, taking LeVar Woods away from his alma mater, a place he's been nearly 2 decades, a place that his kid plays on. I don't think he did that just for the same price necessarily. Yes, he got the assistant head coach label attached to him. But I'm sure money speaks. So some of this is with staffing. But of this $400 million, I think like through 290 of it went to For Sparta. Let's say I think 11 went to the business college, and $100 million went to something called Spartan Ventures. Now, that's a lot of gray area there. No one really knows what that means. It is hypothesized that the $100 million could be for NIL. But what that does and doesn't mean, still to be determined. Does that mean that we have a $100 million salary cap just for this year? I doubt it. I'm led to believe that money's going to have to be in an account, so to speak. I mean, just for a few years here. You're going to just pull off the top here. You're not going to go ball out like Texas Tech immediately. So, yes, this money does help. It's going to make Michigan State's floor higher, but I caution fans into thinking that we're not just going to be pulling in draft picks from the portal here. I think there will be 2 or 3 splashes on each side of the ball, but I think largely it's going to be a lot of marginal improvement. I think bringing this roster up to an average roster, which I don't want to say it, no one wants to hear it, but from last year to next year, if the roster is just average, that is a marked improvement of what we got here in East Lansing. I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but no, truly, get this roster up to at least average so we can at least start year one with a chance for Pat Fitzgerald to do something somewhat positive in the first season. So yes, big price tag. Some of that's going to go to buildings. Yes, the NIL slush fund, it got a little sweeter, but I think it's also going to last Michigan State here quite some time. There's also a lot of positions we have to get to. This isn't a situation where we're just 3 positions away. No, we're going shopping for a lot of items at this NIL transfer portal store, Brian. So you can get excited, but I do want to pump the brakes here a little bit.
Well, I think you should. I honestly do. I mean, it's not easy figuring out how you got to go with the money and all that. Best way to invest it for the long term. So you can't just spend it on year one with Pat.
Right, of course.
Yeah,
right,
you got to put it in different funds. And that's good. I'm glad they have a plan. But now the big question. Quarterback, take that aside. You got to get a quarterback. At least be a backup. You got to get some other portal, at least be a backup, if not compete for the starting job.
Sure.
Where do they need to hit beyond O-line sounds like a travesty?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy, let's go down the list here. So you're going to need at least 2 wide receivers, I think. The offensive line needs a lot of help. That headlines the list. But I guess the 1B to the offensive line's 1A. I just look on the other side of the line here. It's going to be defensive end, defensive line. Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. It's a good thing that no one else needs a defensive end, though, so they should come at a cheap price. We got that going for us, at least, so that's good. I'm obviously being sarcastic. What we need at the top here is, well, a position of need for a lot of teams, whether good or bad, and that's where, kind of the conversation with the money, maybe let's press the brakes on our expectations for what the transfer portal will be. Like, you're going to be competing massively against some other big name programs for difference makers on the offensive line, on the edge, defensive line. But Michigan State will have to overpay their brains out because, let's say, okay, difference maker one. He gets a choice between two schools. Ohio State, a team that sends kids to the NFL all the time. They're basically a lock to make the college football playoff every year. He's getting offered $500,000. How much would Michigan State have to offer that same kid for him to say, screw all that, and then come to Michigan State, where, not my favorite topic of conversation, Brian, but we don't send kids to the NFL like Ohio State does. We don't play in marquee games necessarily. Truly, how much more would a kid have to make here than Ohio State? If I'm his agent, if I'm his handler, I'm saying at least double, right? I mean, it's got to, like, truly, I mean, for the longevity of his career, for that decision to make sense, like, we're going to have to overspend on a lot of key positions if we want to get guys here. I don't think that's it. Does that sound like panic? Because I get accused of panicking a lot. I think that's just a rational outlook on this whole thing. Or you could check me on this too.
I think 20% is the minimum for a lot of guys.
Okay.
Our buddy Zach Blackerby over at Locked On Auburn called it the suck tax at Auburn because it's so bad. And I'm like, dang, that's rough, man. But the new coach over there is cutting some guys off because they were getting paid too much.
Yeah.
Guys are getting the portal. He's flatlining. It's probably not going to go the way they want it next year, but they're trying to. I get it. Unfortunately, here's the really bad news, Matt. You're not sitting down, but you probably should be. Oh, God. Okay.
I got nothing that even resembles a chair over here. I was looking on the ground, maybe something, but no.
Okay, well, it is what it is. You've got your whiskey near. You may need that after this. This is the worst year I've ever seen for offensive line for the So,
do you mean that?
Yes.
Like, oh man,
yeah, it's bad. It's horrific. So, I think that you're going to have to look at things from a different perspective. If you want to be good next year, you're going to have to develop at least a few of the guys that are on your roster. But do you have?
We have a lot of them at least. I mean, well, we have a lot of young guys, and the benefit with 40-11 guys getting hurt throughout the season is at least young guys are getting reps, right? Like Rakeem Johnson, young guy, Rustin Young, young guy. I mean, it wasn't the greatest end of the season for them, but what else do you expect out of freshmen, redshirt freshmen that are having their first college starts? I mean, so if not for nothing else, these guys had experience. Could they come back, get better? Of course they could. But boy, I'd really like to not have an off season of just like coulds and shoulds. I'd like to have some certified like starting offensive line. I think it'd be pretty cool. But man, it really just does seem how the transfer portal has been going the last few years. I mean, it's harder and harder to find talent in the trenches. I remember, a few years ago, Spencer Brown, right tackle, he transfers out of Michigan State. No disrespect to the Brown family if they're listening to this, but no one was necessarily sad to see him go. And then Oklahoma, of all teams, they get him, and they're fired up. They're like, we just got Spencer Brown. This is great. I'm like, oh, God, is this really what the portal's like now? Are we just swapping like garage sale items at this point? Oh, my God, that happened fast. So fast forward a few weeks in the season, the Sooner fans got up to speed on what the Spencer Brown experience was like. But, yeah, it's just way easier said than done to actually like go out and get game-changing offensive linemen in the portal.
They're just not there, man. So this year it's pretty bad. There's a kid from Arizona State, just a kid from UConn, and one other kid. Like they're pretty decent, but linemen just don't transfer that much. The O-linemen,
They don't. And then when they do, every single program in the world wants them. So, yeah.
It's pretty bad. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. When we come back, something that will make Michigan State fans very happy. It is the segment where we talk about Michigan's massive.
Let's talk.
I mean, to be honest, this is wild. And it's going to help Michigan State quite a bit. That is next, right here on this crossover, Locked On Spartans and Locked On the Portal. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time with FanDuel. You can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump in on the moment, whenever that may be. Live spreads and money lines will adjust immediately during a game when something happens, like an injury to the quarterback. Look at Kansas City. They got a big game coming up. They've lost not one, but two quarterbacks. Of course, one of them might be the best player in the world. That's going to change the money lines and everything even quicker if something else happens in their next game. That's part of the player props too. And you can bet on touchdowns, drive results, totals, anything you can imagine with FanDuel. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action all season long, FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right, Matt. I know this bothers you.
Yeah, this is a really troubling topic for me. I know, yeah.
Michigan struggling to find a coach. The timing, and dead serious, is horrific.
It's awesome. Yeah. I actually don't agree with you, Brian. I think it's fantastic.
Here's the situation for a guy that covers recruiting. It covers the portal daily for a job.
Yeah.
I looked at when this happened and I went, I know firsthand because it happened a week after signing day that whole dilemma, and that's a sad situation. I'm not trying to make
Of course. Yeah.
That's a week after signing day that you fired him.
Mm-hmm.
That is not going to go well with elite recruits. I had a bunch of Michigan fans say, we'll be fine. Everybody got really quiet about 48 hours after some guys started to lead that were really good.
Yeah.
And it's been real quiet around Michigan, except for the complaining. I know this won't surprise you. Michigan fans don't want the head coach at Louisville. They don't want the head coach at this school, that school. The only thing they want is Kalen DeBoer, which I think he's a good coach, but run the ball. That's another story. We're talking about that. They had 28 yards rushing against Oklahoma. They're good luck against Indiana.
Right.
I'm just curious your take here. That state. I mean, I grew up in Indiana, so I'm familiar with Michigan State. They don't like each other. It's it's a rival. It's kind of like Indiana, Purdue. They hate each other.
Yeah. Right.
Is there just like reveling on the Michigan State boards with this? I haven't checked it, like the Red Cedar board or anything. Is there fun with this right now? Like, what is it? Like?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, within reason. Obviously, like the situation of how Sheridan got put in that jumpsuit,
Right.
Is not great. Very rarely do you go to jail and are in custody because of something very funny happened. But you brush all that aside. I think the main, talking point for Michigan State fans is almost like, not I told you so in the sense of, we knew this would happen to Sheridan, but in a grander scheme of things, yeah, I get it. Leaders in the best. Michigan men were higher than everyone else. No, you are not. And now it's gone so far out of this little region where they were able to protect that. Now these are national stories. We're on the New York Post now. CNN's doing stories on you. You're getting laughed about on SNL. I don't know, you go back to the last offensive coordinator. That guy had his house raided by the feds. Mozzie Smith has a felony gun charge. He plays the very next game. How many of your coaches got DUIs? There is a basketball player taking the athletic director's car and wrapping around a pull at 2 a.m. There's so much nonsense happening there. But yet all that we keep hearing is we are just a bastion of leadership and upstanding citizenship. No, you're not, because now way too many things have happened where you can't just cover every single thing up. The dam has broken, and now it's becoming a national thing. So, whether I sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist of, the media just protects Michigan around here, sure, I can understand why it can be painted like that. Or if you want to go into the mind of someone that's lived it their entire life, that is kind of what has happened. Sheridan thought he can get away with all that, probably because all that he's known is that Michigan can get away with stuff like this. So when it came crashing down, I don't know why. I was like, that's a little ironic after all the comments they had to say about Mel Tucker. Strange. But more so, at least from my point of view, it's you guys are pretty messed up over here. And it's not just me saying that. Biff Poggi talked about that today at his press conference. It's we've really got to change a lot of things. Isn't that interesting, Biff? That's what we've been saying the last few years. Funny when someone wearing the Michigan polo says it, everyone just nods and now finally agrees. So anyway, I know that was a long-winded monologue, but that's what it's been like over here, Brian. Yeah.
Well, it's so ridiculous. I was reading the Michigan 24/7 board. There was commentary about Josh Heupel. He's a darn good coach.
Sure.
And fans dismissed him immediately. And I'm like,
why? That's the thing. Who do you think you are? Like that's
That's what I'm saying.
Always come back to like, well, you're not
here's
above
the
him.
thing. One guy posted, and I looked to see if anybody corrected him or even challenged this. Maybe they're just afraid of getting bashed.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, this is definitely a top 5 job. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's a lot harder to recruit there. Okay. No offense, but the state of Michigan's not loaded.
Sure. Yeah, right.
It's Ohio State and all the jobs down south. It's just the way it is.
Okay.
That's just the way it is. Where he's getting this top 5 stuff, I have no idea. Nobody came and said anything either. I'm like reading through, I'm like, really? You guys are either you're really dumb or you just don't want to get run over because the other fans will just be mad.
The Block M's cool. It's got the cool brand and everything. But, yeah, it is a mess there. You have an athletic director that might get his head chopped off in the guillotine here pretty soon. You don't have a president. Like, I know it's not fun to talk about and what is an athletic or a university president in the grand scheme of things. No, that does matter. Like, alignment does matter here. So, yes, I know that Block M shines, baby, doesn't it? But you can see why some coaches might not be attracted to come here with everything going on. Like, it's a messed up situation. And I'm glad it's not just me, the little Sparty, saying this. I'm glad that we have, an outside observer like yourself saying this too. It's an odd one, guys. It's a strange situation. You should not say that you're above guys like Brom or Heupel. It's puzzling, but I'm glad to see this out. It has been fun.
Yeah. I think that it's a top 10 or top 12 job, depending on your perspective. But that's when they have a normal. The things you just mentioned are very important.
We got to get stable first, right?
Who's your AD? Like, if you're a major coach, let's just use DeBoer, just for the sake of argument, that's who they want. Why in the hell would you go somewhere where you don't know who your leadership's going to be?
Exactly. Right.
Even if it was after, let's say they make it to they upset Indiana, they keep rolling, and they finalize this. He would know those people. He wouldn't have time. Like, it's an awkward time to do that. Like, if they don't get him, who are they hiring?
I wanted to ask you that. I want to put the hard one on you. I don't know if that was a rhetorical or not rhetorical question, but let me ask you, like, truly, how do you think this all ends? Is it just going to be Biff as an interim coach because you are so handcuffed with timing? I could very well see it going down that road here.
The guy, I forget the guy's name. Help me. He's a good coach, but he's tied to Harbaugh, so I don't think they'll do this. The coordinator that went out with Harbaugh or one of the other coaches.
Jesse Minter, I believe. Is that the one?
He's a good coach. That's
absolutely. Yeah.
But he's tied to the whole cheating scandal, and they probably want to wax that away, which I get.
But do they, though? Because, like, do the people that make those decisions actually really care about that? I don't know. I think there's more of a crack in the foundation than there usually was, but I still think the majority would just not care. Be like, oh, he's a Michigan man. Bring him in. It's great.
The internal investigation is the other part of that. Like, with that going on, bringing him back that's an oxymoron.
Yeah.
That's even for what they've done recently.
I think so. Like, a rational person thinks so, but rationality doesn't always win out there. So it could be Minter. Who's to say? I don't know. But, yeah, they are handcuffed. I saw, the Brom conversation was happening on Twitter earlier today, and I wouldn't be thrilled about that, which why not? But whatever. I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see the fallout. The actual incident, of course, not great. But, man, the fallout, this is kind of sweet, Brian. I gotta say.
Could you imagine Brom with Bryce? Like, Brom as a quarterback coach? I know you hate Michigan, but, like, that would be
objectively, that would be scary hours. Yeah. Like, I mean, he would probably coach him how to complete a forward pass, I would assume, which apparently wasn't talked about at all during his first year of development. Anyway, I digress. I'm not trying to help them, but yeah, I think that would actually be a fine hire. I don't know why they're just so quick to poo-poo that, but hey, I'm not a Michigan fan. I can't relate. So
yeah, it's just wild. But here's the other part of it. If the $400 million and all the things that MSU are doing works out right, this is what I think they should do. And Matt, you need to take this directly to the leadership that's actually in place in East Lansing for me.
I know.
You guys can win some recruiting battles in state because they don't even know who the heck their head coach is. You at least have one.
The time is ripe to pounce and like take advantage of this. Like, yes, they have business on the field, but man, what a seismic offseason for both schools. Like, it's got to turn around here. So, look, in a world where we have no reason to have momentum within our own state, like, enough has happened the last few weeks where, oh my God, we actually are riding a little bit of a wave right now. This is very exciting. So, look, let's close the gap, or maybe even just shut the gap all the way and actually beat them next year. But yeah, this is there are some, of course, on-field ramifications here within this rivalry with everything that's happened.
Yeah, is it East Lansing or Ann Arbor next year?
It will be Ann Arbor next year.
That would be.
Yeah, Ann Arbor next year. Yeah.
That would be.
Start fanning myself off right now. Oh man, whew. It's always fun to beat them, but boy, howdy, is it more fun to do it in their own barn. That's that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
On that note, Matt, I'm gonna let you get going, brother. But where can we find your work, sir?
Sheehan_sports if you want more meltdowns. Although I gotta say, basketball season's treating us okay. There's not a lot of meltdowns going on right now. My only meltdowns lately are just about the Detroit Lions, but their season's toast anyway. So yeah, just follow along for whatever ride we have coming up next. Sheehan_sports and Locked On Spartans, guys.
I appreciate it. You can find Locked On the Portal on Apple, Spotify, Podbean, and of course on YouTube. We will see you again soon.